And just like that, we are back in the lab once again on this beautiful spring morning, covering today two players who are playing absolutely out of their mind. One player is on fire, and the other player is just playing flat out desperate. And that's scary going into the play-in tournament at the end of the season. Let's talk about it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Trey Ball. Like I said, there's two players that's playing head and shoulders above the league in the past week and a half. One player is Paul George, the other is Steph Curry. And I mean, as you read in the title, Fuego, absolutely on fire. The last 6 games for Paul George because he did miss a couple games, whether it be to an injury or just rest and load management, as they call it. I feel like the Clippers over the past couple of years and the Toronto Raptors, basically whatever team has Kawhi Leonard, you're going to see that team use the words load management a lot more than the rest of the league. But anyways, like I said, Paul George is still playing phenomenal basketball over his last 5 or 6 games. Throughout that span, he is 51% from the three, 53.4 from the field, and 90.6 from the free throw line. They're a 5-1 record in those 6 games, but since Rondo came over, they are 8-1 throughout that entire span. Which, I mean, Rondo is going to help a lot for your offense and defense, but mainly for the superstars that aren't really used to handling the ball as much, getting other players involved that really need to look for the shot. That fits Paul George to the T. So that's why you see his flourish in the last 6 or 7 games. Like I said, 5-1 record. He made 26 threes over that span, 5 straight 30-point games, which is impressive in and of itself. Also, you can see he's been getting people involved. The 36 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. 33 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 32 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 36, 7 and 8, 37, 9 and 6. And they played the Timberwolves the other night. Didn't even have to play the fourth quarter. 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in that game. Now, what I'm seeing from him is the same thing we've been seeing from Paul George the past several years. He's been a star for the majority of his career. But if the Clippers want to get past the Lakers, if they want to beat the newly resurged Suns, the Utah Jazz. If you want to get past those teams, then you need Paul George to be a superstar. With Jokic losing Murray, you're going to need to have a dominant performance because, like I said, I mean, for the most of your career, you've been a star. We've seen excellent performances. We've seen you put up big numbers. Like I said, I mean, 5 straight 3-point games. This is not out of the ordinary to see from Paul George in the regular season. What's out of the ordinary is to see this in the postseason. So when you're playing a team, they have an injured man, like Murray's out for the rest of the season and partly the first half of next season. If you see a team that's wounded like that, you need to put them out of their misery. That's what superstars do. That's what the elite MVP level players do. They put teams down that have no business making to the next round. So if you get to the Nuggets and you face them in first round, you got to put those boys down. I don't want to see any 4-2 or 4-3. I want to see a 4-1 series, a gentleman's sweep at the most from them. Why? Because Paul George should be playing at this level of basketball every single night. And like I said, with Rondo being there, he doesn't really have to focus on getting people involved. He catches the ball, he can look to attack, look to score the ball, or if he's taking on double teams, he can look to make the next play. I seen the other night when they played the Timberwolves, I believe it was Marcus Morris is the twin that's on the Clippers. But I seen Marcus Morris benefit from him. Man benefit quite a bit from Paul George taking those double teams from the Wolves. I seen Rondo, he had a couple of good wide open shots to get his game going. So everybody being able to feed off of you, being aggressive and attacking the rim, first of all, and then looking for an open jumper, that's the type of basketball PG needs to play on a regular basis for them to have success in the postseason. Because, like I said, yes, once you get out of the first round, the problem is now you got to pick your poison. The Lakers, the new look Suns with CP3 running the point is very dangerous. It's a lot more dangerous than people think it is because it's not only CP3 on the floor, but Monty Williams is one of the better head coaches in the NBA, and he has these Suns playing a great brand of, yes, offense, but defensive lockdown, hard-nosed defense, and you add Jay Crowder into that mix coming up from Miami, there's a lot of problems that they can cause night in and night out, especially on the defensive side of the ball for a team like the Clippers that really feature two guys mainly and everybody else feeds off them. If they can lock them down, there's going to be a problem. So that's why PG needs to be at the top of this game going into this postseason. Now, I did say they were at a 5-1 record he missed some games. Let's look at the flip side and Steph Curry. Now, I said Paul George is playing out of his mind. Steph Curry, you could say he's playing out of his mind, but we expect Steph to shoot the ball at an elite level, at an all-time great level, because he is the best ever. Um, but this is different. We're seeing Steph in desperation mode. He's playing desperate basketball, whereas a lot of times you see a player like Steph, they wait for the game to come to them. They try to find their rhythm. They get everybody else involved, then they look for their own shot. He's coming in with the mindset that in order for us to have the chance, I need to be unconscious and do what I do best, which is better than anybody in NBA history, which is shoot the basketball. We've seen Steph going to shoot first mode before, but this is, if I don't do this, we lose the game, and ultimately we could fall out of playoff contention, let alone the play-in tournament. So right now they're sitting at that 9 spot. They're at 29-29, but watching Steph play the game of basketball right now, I mean, for example, let me just paint this picture, okay? He was coming off a screen, dribble handoff with Draymond Green. A lot of times when people play Steph Curry and he has it going like this, he catches the ball off that dribble handoff and they blitz him. They blitz him right off that screen into a double team, and they force him either to kick it to the corner or try to swing it all the way back to Draymond. And 9 times out of 10, the person that's rotating from the corner to Draymond, they're going to pick that pass off. We have not seen that from Steph Curry in the last couple of games. He came off, he got the dribble handoff before he even made it off the screen into an open area of the floor. He was already up at the shot. So imagine as soon as he touched the ball, the shot was up, and Greg Smith had no chance to rotate to double team him on that play. Kemba Walker was on his hip, didn't matter. He was still pulling up for the three. And that's the type of basketball that concerns me, not for the Golden State Warriors, but for everybody in the play-in. Right now, we look at the Dallas Mavericks, the Spurs, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Unfortunate for the Grizzlies because they had this issue last year. I mean, you had Dame catch fire late in the season. He rattled off a 30, 40, 50, and 60-point game just to get them into the playoffs. It looks like more of the same is on their way, because the way Steph is playing the last 10 games, 11 games or so, it's not looking good for them. He's shooting 48. Well, after last night's game versus the Sixers, he's actually shooting 50% from 3, 54% from the field, and 90% from the free throw line. They have a 7-4 record. He's made 78 3-pointers, and he has 11 straight 30-point games. So last night, like I said, he had another big game. He had 49 points last night and 10 3-pointers. He had 47 7 and 3, 33 4 and 5, 42 6 and 8, 53 6 and 4, 53 6 and 4, 38 8 and 5, 32 6 and 5, 41 6 and 4, 37 5 and 2, 36 11 and 3, 32 5 and 6. And like I said, just last night he had 49 points on 10 3-pointers. He has 78 3-pointers over the last 11 games. I don't have to tell you that is the most all time. I mean, I guess you probably figured that out. He's playing unconscious basketball right now. He touches the basketball, he knows he has to get it up in the air. But, a lot of times you see guys just jack up shots like if they're in a rush. Steph's release and his motion to his jump shot is a blink of an eye. So it's not like he's rushing it. He's just getting more into a rhythm. He's more into his routine than he normally is of his shot. And he, like I said, he already has a quick release, but as soon as he touches the ball, he knows the double team is coming, because Draymond's not going to take a shot. Draymond Green, that's not his job description. His job is to get people open, put everybody in their positions, run the offense, rebound, be the defensive anchor. Andrew Wiggins, he's being paid like a max player, but he doesn't put up max player points. He doesn't put max player effort for it. He's getting paid like a superstar that he is not. I mean, I don't even think he's made an all-star team yet. So, I mean, what I'm seeing from the Warriors is this. It's like that episode of Fresh Prince when they were all in practice, and the coach was going over the plays, and he looked at everybody. He says, "What do you do next? Just pass it to Will." That's exactly what's happening right now with Golden State. You run a play, Steph comes off the screen, just pass it to Steph, and everybody else let the chips fall where they may. Because at this point, like I said, you can't really rely on Draymond, but that's nothing new. You can't hang your hat on Wiggins getting 15, 20, 25 points a night to help Steph. You can't rely on Oubre. He has a couple games here and there where he's playing really phenomenal. He's shooting the ball well, but that's not his bread and butter to give you 20 points a night. You have who else? You have Damian Lee. You have a lot of the young guys. I think Pascal's out with an injury, so you're also down the second round draft, the first round second pick, which is Wiseman. So you're down a lot of young players. You don't have Klay Thompson, which first of all, if they did have Klay, we'd be looking at Steph Curry, the three-time NBA MVP, because there'd be no way they're at 29-29 the way he's playing right now. And like I said, they have a 7-4 record in the last 11 with him playing at this level. And we always like to say that Steph hasn't really showed up in big moments, hasn't really put together a signature performance in the playoffs. In my opinion, people like to play into that and they like to use that against Steph, and it's only because ESPN said it or Skip Bayless or somebody said that. But if you look at the numbers, Steph's been phenomenal in the playoffs. And if you're just looking at 2015, everybody's saying he didn't deserve the NBA Finals MVP or hold it against him that he didn't get it. Well, 9 times out of 10, if your star player in the NBA Finals is averaging 26, 6, and 6, that's an MVP. And he's leading your team in the NBA Finals. Like I said, that's the MVP in my opinion. They goofed on that and gave it to Andre Iguodala. I really don't understand that decision. Maybe somebody can shed light on that for me in the comments, maybe. But Steph Curry deserved that NBA Finals MVP. He's a two-time regular season MVP, back-to-back, the first unanimous MVP. He's second in three-pointers in NBA history. Regularly hovers around the 50-40-90. This time he's hovering around the 50-50-90 club. It's just impressive the way he's been doing for the long stretch of his career. But what we're seeing right now, like I said, a desperate Steph Curry, and that does not bode well for John Morant, doesn't bode well for Doncic, doesn't bode well for Greg Popovich and the Spurs. And whoever has to face Steph coming out of that first round, whether it be, I mean, right now it looks like it's going to be the Utah Jazz or the Clippers. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned because if I'm the Clippers, we've seen this play out before. We've seen Paul George and Kawhi Leonard get to the first round and they go through struggles, and then, I mean, an injury happens to where they make it to the second round. I don't think that scenario is going to play out with Golden State. Like I said, they got lucky when Kristaps Porzingis got hurt and they just had to deal with Doncic, and even Doncic still was a problem in and of itself. So if you have a Steph Curry that's on fire at this magnitude, like I said, you need Paul George to be a superstar, not just a star. You need Kawhi Leonard to be a two-time MVP in the first round. You know, normally you don't flip that switch into the second round. You play hard-nosed defense, tough defense. Whole team is involved. Everybody's on 10, ready to go. First round, you really put them down as a team. Second round, then you start to insert your will as a superstar. And then in the NBA Finals or the Conference Finals, you start to show that you're one of the best in the game. In the first round of the playoffs, if you run into Steph, you have to prove that you're the best in the game right then and now, because that's the type of player that you're going to see on the other side. You're going to see, like I said, a desperate Steph Curry is going to be shooting the lights out. And I pray for Rondo. I pray for Reggie Jackson, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Cameron Payne, all the point guards on those other teams, like I said, the Clippers, the Suns, and Donovan Mitchell isn't even healthy right now. So if he has to come back and instantly he has to pick up Steph Curry in a playoff series, that's not going to bode well for the Jazz offense, because you have to use your best perimeter defensive player and your best perimeter offensive player in the first round to chase around somebody who's already a legend in the game of basketball. I mean, that's just going to wear you down and cause problems. And we've seen how they handled the first round against the Denver Nuggets. Imagine what's going to happen with Golden State. And like I said, 50, 50, 90, 7-4, 78 threes, 11 straight 30-point games. If Klay Thompson was playing right now, Steph would have just catapulted himself into that number one position of being the MVP of the league. Now, past couple of games, Jokic, they had, like I said, they're without Murray, so they may have dropped a couple of games here and there. Dame is out with an injury. The first time he's missed back-to-back games all year long. So really, the MVP is wide open, but Jokic is number one. I can't in my right mind look at his performance over the last 11 games and say that Steph Curry wouldn't have put himself at the top spot at the very end of the season because he's playing phenomenal basketball, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. I really don't. I think they have a couple of good games. They just won a game against the Philadelphia 76ers on the road, 49 points, 10 three-pointers made, and they were chanting MVP for him when he went to the free throw line. When their star player is Joel Embiid, just put up 28, 30, or something like that. So that says a lot when you're being chanted for MVP in another potential MVP's building. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Special thanks to Curtis Murphy and Murphy Elite Training for sponsoring this episode. If you want to stay up to date on merchandise or simply update your game, please click the link in the description to stay up to date on all things Murphy Elite Training. Until next time, you know the rules.